So, as I also said before, today I am going to talk about employee selection and assessment and why it is important that we find the right fit for our team or for the company or business and other things. This is a brief introduction about what it is going to be shown into the slides. Some of the primary goals that we are going to discuss into this presentation today is how to learn to select the right candidates and learn more about the assessment and strategies used by the HR department. First of all, what is employee selection? Employee selection is the process of interviewing and evaluating the candidates for a specific job and selecting the most suitable one for the employment based on specific criteria, and what we mean by specific criteria. By specific criteria, also as seen in the job description, for example, we see qualifications, we see skills, we see experience and expertise. Why are these requirements important? And like the first thing that we see, because for each job we have the description for the role responsibilities. So in the process of selecting the candidates, it's important that we start by this first step, that we start by the step on seeing if the candidate completes, let's say, the qualifications, or if it's the candidate, if it's qualified enough for the requirements that we have in the role description. This may be like qualifications, professional qualifications, skills that the candidates may have, some experience. So because its role needs the specified experience on completing the duties and the responsibilities for that role, and the expertise or some specializations that they do, if they are certified, if they are licensed. So depending on each requirement, we see who is more suitable depending on the description of the role that we have made when opening a vacancy and selecting.
Silvana
Yeah.
Mici, I have a question on this because we tell our students that they should have a professional blog where they can constantly write about their thoughts and their research,
Yes.
and then add that to their resume. So they put like a link on their resume, their CV,
Yes.
linking to their blog where the person who's trying to employ somebody can actually look at all of their work and their thoughts and
Yes.
their assignments. Does that really help, in your opinion, to do that social media presence?
I think that this helps depending on the profiles later that you will use. But in this particular example, I would say that it helps in entry level jobs or in some internships because it's writing job, and I assume that they will write something about their education or life experiences or different topics. So it is
Well,
like
they would
good.
actually be writing about their research and their thesis work and doing, presenting all of their
Yes,
research.
yes, they would also write on their thesis and research, and it's like writing about their job or writing about what they did during all this time. So this is like a job, except of them doing their thesis, they are doing also their first job because they have like responsibilities for this thesis or for this research, and they write what they find. So it is good that you can add this into your CV. So also recruiters or managers can see what your previous work was, or how your writing skills are, or how your critical thinking skills are. Because when writing about research or when writing in general, you have a lot of, let's say, elements that you show into your writing. So I think it's a good idea for them to make this step and add that to the
Thank
CV.
you. That's all my question. Thank you.
Employee selection is also the process of putting right people onto the right job. What does this mean? Putting right people onto the right job. This means that we are trying to select the right people for a specific role by putting all together the criteria that we told before, like qualifications, skills, experience, and expertise. It is a procedure that of matching organizational requirements with the skills and qualifications of people. Effective selection can be done only when there is an effective matching. So, for your selection to be effective, you should see all of, let's say, all of the elements, not only like the first step, which is finding most suitable matched candidates in the area of, let's say, experience or requirements, but we also have the other steps of employee selection that are interviewing, that are face-to-face interviews, talking, some assessments, some tests, that we will also talk into the other slides. Why is employee selection important? Employee selection, as we talked before, is the process of choosing individuals who have relevant qualification to fill job into an organization. But what is the importance between all this selection and all this process? The importance is that without qualified employees, an organization is in a poor position to succeed. So, as I have also said in my other previous presentation, it is very crucial, and the first step towards the success is finding the best employees that will work for you. So, building your team. We cannot do anything by ourselves, and if we want to succeed, we need to find the right people to work with us, not only in terms of experience, but also in terms of cooperation, in terms of communication, in terms of motivation, and other skills. Selecting the right employees is a crucial step on developing the right strategy for your company on being successful. What are some of the steps that usually are followed into the process of employee selection? First one. First one is application. So the recruiters or the HR department, they post a vacancy and the job, and they wait for all of the applications until the deadline. And then, secondly, resume screening. After they have had all of the applications due to the date, then we have the resume screening. In the resume screening, we see what are the employee's qualifications, skills, experience, expertise, and other skills that may match with the description of the role responsibilities. Screening call. By screening call, it is understood that it's choosing the right applicants or candidates. So screening calls mean that choosing the candidates that you think that they match the best for this job position. Fourth, assessment test. This is not always done before, but in nowadays that are some, most of the companies use this, and it can be done in Google Docs or in in any other sites or uh, job sites. You just conduct a test, and in this test, you try to put on into evaluation what you want or what you require from the skills of this candidate. It can be like experience, evaluating the experience that they need to have, evaluating their motivation, evaluating time management or management skills, evaluating how much motivated and ambitious they are to work into this. So there can be like different questions depending on the specific vacancy or the specific role that they are looking for. Next is in-person interviewing. After you have also conducted the test, and then from the test you select what are some of the candidates that matched the best with the skills that you wanted. And then you have the face-to-face interview with these candidates to understand better about their qualifications, experience, and role of them, or how do they think of this position and think of working into your company, and what they can bring into company, and also what they can take from your company. Because if you don't let your candidates, or if you don't ask the candidate what they bring and what they assume that they will take, then you don't understand how you can approach the candidate and what to expect from them. So it's like a thing, it's like a question that should be done in every interview from my perspective. Next is background checks. After you have selected the qualified candidates that you think that are mostly the ones that can work into this position, you do the background check and the reference check, which is from the previous employee. So you see their manner of work, their behavior, and some of the responsibilities that they have, and how was their behavior with the other persons, because you this helps you to better understand also how it is going to work into your company. And the last one is decision and job offer. So after conducting all of the tests, assessment, and interviews and checks, you decide on the most suitable candidate, and then you make the procedures for offering the job position. What are some assessment tools and techniques? First one is test validity. The curiosity, what is test validity? Is the accuracy with which a test, interview, and so on measures what is purpose, what is the purpose to measure or fulfills the function it was designed to fill. So in test validity, in basic words, I can say that it's the test that values the qualifications of the candidates. That can be like experience, expertise, skills, and so on. Criterion validity, a type of validity based on showing that scores of the test are related to job performance. So we take the results from the test, and now we want to make it valid to what we require from this position and from the candidates. So this is the criteria validation. Content validity is a test that is content valid, and is one in which the test contains a fair sample of the tasks and skills actually needed for the job in question. is the same as a criteria, but in this case is for the content. Reliability, the characteristic which refers to the consistency of scores obtained by the same person that retested with the identical or equivalent tests. Expectancy chart, a graph showing the relationship between test scoring and job performance for a large group of people. Work samples. So expectancy chart is when trying to realize the test scores or results and the job performance that you have taken from these people that you have made the test. Work samples, actual job tasks used in testing applicants' performance. So you give them a sample of work, or they give you, you require from them to complete a sample of work, and then you see their performance or job success. Work sample,
Silvana Mici, there's a question.
yes.
This is probably a good time to ask the question. It's from Fidele Cabene. He
Mhm.
says, effective matching for the organization during the employee selection process. This is what's supposed to happen. But unfortunately, in Africa, this context doesn't work. People are getting jobs regardless of the connection they have and the recommendations. So it's like people are getting jobs just because they're not qualified, basically, because someone wants them to be in that position, but they're not qualified. How can you respond to that?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that in some countries, they are still using this method, uh, like you previously described. But I think that with this presentation and also with other courses and presentations, this is why we try to learn and in later on have arguments to also tell companies and other people that this is the way how should it be done, not your way or not what you are using. And it is also shown, I think, and I think that it will be changed with the time because it will bring a performance or it will bring results that are not good. And by seeing the result, they will try to find why is this happening. And when trying to find why it's happening, they will understand that this hiring process was not the best option because it brought like many not so good benefits into the companies or into the state economy or into the country economy or in the whole hiring process. So I would just respond to that I I hope that this will be changed soon
That's a very good
by
answer. That's a very good
yes,
answer.
because it is very hard to I understand that it's very hard to change people's mind, especially people that have power, but I believe that it will come a day that they will understand that something is going wrong because the results will show them. And I think that this will start to change gradually, and let's hope this will be pretty soon. And the last one, it's management assessment. It's management assessment is a situation in which management candidates are asked to make a centered decision in a hypothetical situation and are scored on their performance. So this means that you assume or you ask about a case and You wait to see the other's reaction or the other's answer about what is going to happen or what would be their answer into having the best solution about this case or this particular situation. In this case, you see their time management, you see their critical thinking, you see their decision making skills, communication, and also other skills that the candidate may have. So these are just some examples. It usually
Ass-
also involves, yes,
Oh, there's another question. Quick one.
yes.
Is a competency-based assessment reliable?
Sorry, what?
It's down in chat by Lucia. Is a competency-based assessment a reliable assessment?
Um, I think that most of the assessments are reliable when they are done particularly in relation with the job description, with the company vision and mission. Because in this, like I think that each company should have its own test assessment for the employees that he needs to hire or he needs to evaluate or to see the job performance, because we don't do tests and assessments only when we are hiring somebody, but we also do test and assessment also in the employees that we have to see how the things are going and what can be done and to evaluate their performance. So yes, I think it's reliable.
So you have to take it within the context of the goals of what you want as a
Yes, I
company.
think yes, I think that each company should have its own, and the assessment or the test or what other technique that you will use, but usually it's an assessment or a test, should be done particularly using or keeping in mind the company's mission, vision, and also what the particular or specific vacancy is, or what they require to have in their company. So there are some general questions, like being like general questions for every candidate, but this should be in relation with what the company believes it's their vision and mission, because the employees should be for this company. And in order to them to succeed or work into this environment or into this team, they need to be like matched into the goals and into the mission of the company. That's why it's important that also the tests are conducted in relation to these elements and factors.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And later, we will talk about also the legal and ethical considerations of having on conducting the process of employee selection. Unethical practices within the requirement industry are unfortunately rife and can result in job seekers being disappointed, demotivated, and even exploited. What do I mean by this? So, all of us, we have applied to many jobs and done different applications while requiring a job or while searching for a job. And all of us, I think, that can relate to the moment that we apply into something, we write all of the things, and we do not take any answer. So, what do I mean by ethical considerations? By ethical considerations, I mean that even in the terms that you will not choose an employee, for example, it is important that you tell them a yes or a no into the application. So it's important that when you receive an application for the job requirements or for the job that you have posted or a vacancy, you also tell this employee, thank you for your application. You were not selected this time, but unfortunately, but thank you. This can be like a good way to show them that you took their application and you thank them for their time and consideration into applying on this job. This also motivates them that even though they are not being selected this time, but at least they are heard or their application and their time was seen by someone. Ethics are the principles or standards that guide day to day business in accordance with established corporate values. Among ethical values, we can say that are trust, honesty, respect, and responsibility. As a recruiter, you are responsible for acting in the best interest of candidates who are trusting you with their future career, as well as client companies who rely on you to find the very best person for the opportunity at hand. Essential factors to consider for ethical recruiting. Now we're going to talk about some factors that you need to keep in mind while talent sourcing or while recruiting people. First, never place misleading job advertisement. This refers to misrepresenting the requirements of a particular position. It also refers to working conditions as the current or projected state of the organization. Interview correctly to ensure proper matching. This is very crucial. So as we talked about the process of employee selection, and when we are in interviewing, we need to also choose the the correct candidates that will also go on with this process. So also interviewing, which was like the fifth process, like in-person interview, it is a very important element into the selection because it's like one of the final elements before the decision and the job offer. It is vital for agencies to interview candidates thoroughly to match them with the right job. This includes giving guidance to candidates and helping them understand the offer and its associated career implicators. Treat your candidates equally. An important ethical factor, it is essential not to discriminate based on gender, race, origin, religion, and political views. Always review candidates based on their merits. It is critical for HR professionals to be honest, consistent, and objective throughout the recruiting process. Solicit only information that is necessary. For instance, information like the city a candidate was born does not matter and or have an impact when it comes to their ability to perform a certain role. Where they currently reside, however, does have implications or when they are able to commute to daily jobs or others. So even before the selection that we do, we should write down some of the information or personal information that we need to know from the candidate. This will help us also in the selection of the applications because we will see what matches the best. Maintain confidentiality on the use and storage of candidate information. Confidentiality is essential in every professional ethics and in every company, in every department, in every other community. Confidentiality is essential, and you need to keep in mind that is like the first ethical rule in every profession. This includes obtaining the candidate's consent to release their details to a specific client or for a specific position. Conduct yourself in a transparent fashion, ensuring that the candidates fully understand the possible risks involved if going to work for a competitor to their current employer. Never practice redirection. Redirection is when a recruitment takes feedback from a hiring manager after a candidate's interview and send it to the candidate. If the candidate can address the hiring manager's worries, it increases the likelihood that they'll be chosen for the job and the recruiter will secure their fee. It may be effective, but it's highly unethical. So you don't always share everything with the candidates. You only share what is important, and this share or this feedback that you will share with them should be written in ethical way. Inform candidates appropriately of the selection decision. Always let the candidate know within a specified or communicated time frame where they got the job or not. It is very important. Do not leave them hanging on the application or expecting from you to tell them something, or even if you not hire them, it is important that you say them thank you and go on. This is also a quote. If you hire good people, give them good jobs and pay them good wages. Generally, something good is going to happen. As we said before, when you find the right candidates, you are going or you are opening the first step into your company's success. Acquiring the right talent is the most important key to growth. Hiring was and still is the most important thing that we do. This is like a plan, so and you can see how usually it goes. This is mostly for companies, and it's just an example because each company can choose its own plan and develop this plan with its own team. So first is planning and approaching to the market and designing strategy, and then to launch all of the strategies and designs that they have conducted as a team, and see how these strategies and approach will be also selected by the environment or by the society. Some of areas of focus on trying to conduct the employee selection process is first, as I said before, company vision and mission. So I strictly believe that understanding these two factors can lead and help you more in finding the right candidates for your company. And secondly, I think that it's employee background and most important, motivation. Filling all the requirements is important, but finding an employee who is ambitious and motivated to work is like finding a hidden gem towards developing success into your workplace or company.
Silvana Mici,
Yes,
on that last point, that's probably the main reason why we suggest doing a professional blog, because that
yes,
shows your motivation, that shows your ambition, that
yes,
shows you're active in your research and your work.
yes. This is very true. And as I said before, it is also a good thing for them to add because to add like in their resume because they by doing that they were showing their job. on what they did and their findings and their decision making about why did they choose this, and their critical thinking about different developments and their motivation and background, ambitious. So different kind of skills that can be shown in the way of how they or what they would bring into a company, for example.